What's my favorite technical indicator? Do you use Fibonacci retracement in buying stocks? So how does foreign investors affect the Philippines? So why do you think hodling is the best strategy for most people? What do you advise for people like me having FOMO, not buying and capturing every dip? Hi everyone. So in this video, we're gonna talk about the top questions that you asked via Instagram. I did an Instagram story yesterday where I asked you to send as much questions as you can, and thank you so much to everyone who sent. I tried to answer some of them via Instagram. I'm gonna address some of them also here in YouTube. The first question that was sent out was from Romarts asking what's my favorite technical indicator. For those who have been following my stocks by request sessions, even when I analyze charts for cryptocurrencies, you've been noticing it's almost the same. Let me give you an example that I really like building my analysis starting with support and resistance and interlacing them with candlesticks. For me, dun pa lang, I'm okay already. But the reason why I add other indicators such as moving averages or even MACD because it helps somehow solidify my opinion towards it. Please remember this. The biggest mistake of a lot of people when it comes to technical analysis is they think it's a foolproof type of analysis, that they think that when you do technical analysis, you won't have any wrong, that it also helps predict where markets will go. And that's not true. It's a misconception to think that technical analysis will help predict the markets. Any kind of analysis, no, there's no tool or there's no technique that will foolproof your investing in the market, that it can predict a specific price, it can predict a specific movement of the markets. Technical analysis is basically just risk management. Technical analysis is basically you looking at the charts, enabling you certain areas where you're supposed to buy based on proper sound technical analysis principles, and certain areas also when you're supposed to sell. When I say sell, it could either be cut loss because it did not go the way you wanted to go, or it could be take profits also. And for me, technical analysis has helped limit my fear and greed because, okay, I'm up at a high point already, but the charts are telling me to sell, then I quickly sell. In the same way also, that when it becomes too fearful, the stock is dropping, but my cut loss signal have been hit, I would also sell. Please remember this, that whatever I'm sharing to you based on technical analysis is purely for trading. Whenever I talk about investing, stacking, regardless if it's stocks or Bitcoin, the rules for stacking and investing are totally different from trading. Now, I like using support and resistance mainly because if you look at it here, this is Jollibee. I could possibly plot my resistance right here. I could plot my support right here, somewhere around this particular level, then another area of support right here. So it helps me analyze it already from a level of support and resistance that, hey, Jollibee is moving up mainly because it broke out from this 189 resistance level. As you all know, for those who attended the Stock Smart sessions, when a stock breaks past a resistance level, it becomes a new support. But not just that, when it breaks past a resistance level, it gives you a shot to continually push up and there's momentum attached to it. And that's what we're seeing right now also for Jollibee, that as it broke out from the 189 level, it pushed higher. And as you can see it also right here, it's experiencing a bit of selling. Primarily, if you'll put another line here, there's a smaller resistance level at that particular area. So the way you would analyze that also is to see that, this smaller resistance level, which is turning into a level of support also, we have to validate if it's actually holding its ground. Because if it holds its ground and this becomes a new level of support, then the push right here would be valid. If not, then this becomes a resistance again, then it falls back out to the 189 level. So if you notice it, I'm just combining support and resistance, combining the principles of breakouts into it, then combining also the principles of breakdowns, then adding the analysis of candlesticks attached to it, then using it as a form of risk management. So if you notice it here, there was no form of prediction that was happening. It was mainly based on, okay, Jollibee is moving up because of the breakout that happened. That's basically it. Then aside from that is this. If it does not hold the 200 level, then there's a possible narrative that it's breaking out from that short-term level of support, that it could go back to 189. But if the 200 level holds, then it will push towards the 210 mark. It's mainly based on sound technical analysis principles. It's mainly based on risk management altogether. Then if I want further confirmation, I use the moving averages and MACD. So if you look at it right here also, at the point where it started to break out from the 189 level, crossed above the zero line area for MACD, across cross above the zero line area denotes a more bullish sentiment. Also, if you are analyzing the stock, if you look for further confirmation here, you can draw this line here where we see Jollibee start to break out from this downward trending slope. So that's one way for me to actually analyze it, that okay, broke down from this downward trending slope, broke out from this 189 resistance, confirmed also by MACD. And as you can see right here, MACD also changed directions. There was a cross between those two lines, and whatever upward movement that we have is confirmed from the breakout from the 20, 50, 100, and 200-day moving average. So ganun lang style ko. I try more or less to analyze it using support and resistance, using candlesticks, then trend lines. Then I would use moving averages, I would use MACD to somehow support my analysis into that particular position. And ganun din, if I want to use volume, I use volume-based indicators. If I want to trade faster, I use parabolic SAR. If I want more confirmation, I also use Bollinger Bands as well. The question was from Pao Viola. His question is, do you use Fibonacci retracement in buying stocks? I know how to use Fibonacci retracements. I use it from time to time, but it's not exactly my style. I like drawing everything. So if I'll clear this out first, then maglagay lang muna tayo ng maybe 200-day moving average and MACD. The way I would normally draw it is I would put a resistance here, then I'd put another support line here, somewhere here, then I'd put another resistance here. This one coincides close to the 200-day moving average also. So that's how I would look at it. Doon ako nasanay eh. I like drawing it based on past areas of support. I like drawing it based on past areas of resistance. From there, that's where I build my analysis. Please remember this, that Fibonacci retracements, it's just a shortcut way for you to be able to analyze the charts. It's basically that. Instead of drawing it from historical levels of resistance, you're using the Fibonacci retracement, which is a mathematical model which was developed in the Middle Ages, that somehow they were able to make formulations of it that are applicable to technical analysis. The theory behind that, and we talked about that in detail in our Stock Smarts course, that the theory behind that is you connect the lowest point to the highest point, and only will work if a retracement will happen, meaning from the highest point, we've started to see it start to go down or start to dip. So as you start to connect the lowest point to the highest point, it would build its own levels of support and resistance. I guess the beauty about that is you don't have to make your own. You don't have to analyze it on your own. The problem, I guess, with building it from historical support and resistance levels is medyo subjective siya. Ano pipiliin ko dito? Ito ba? So kasi here, you can also, I don't think it's wrong also using this. It's not putting it at that level. It's not also wrong putting a support here. It's not also wrong putting a support here. So when you use Fibonacci, all of those subjectivities are out of the window. Yung subjective part lang doon sa analysis is to figure out, okay, which is the lowest point, which is the highest point, then I project them all together. Then as I start to project them all together, these are the support and resistance lines. So please also remember this. This works not just for Philippine stocks. I'm just giving you a Philippine stock market scenario here because the chart that's open right now for me is the chart that I use for my Philippine stocks. But it works in US markets, it works also in crypto markets, and that's the beauty of it. To answer the question, similar to yung unang question, that I like drawing my own support and resistance. That's my core. Then I just attach it with everything. For Fibonacci, I use it from time to time. I know how to use it, but we all have our own biases, and part of my biases is it's not hardwired to me na yun yung unahin ko. But for the sake of this video, I just wanna compare and show it to you as well. So I'll erase this first. So this one, Fibonacci connect, as what I said, connect the lowest point to the perceived highest point. So right here, connect them together, and then voila, that's your support and resistance. So the way I would analyze this using Fibonacci is that, okay, this is my resistance level, and well and true, it was trying, so hindi lang siya sakto lagi, but at least close to it also, that you would have an ideology that, okay, as you can see from Wednesday, it had a hard time going up. Thursday had a hard time going up, primarily because also it was very, very close to that particular resistance level. So if you're watching this and you're looking at this chart, this becomes also an ideology for you na, teka, 38.75. This is an area for me also, if I'm a trader, to take profits should it fail to break out from that particular resistance. So please remember, the analysis of this does not change anymore. The same analysis for drawing your own support and resistance will still hold true, meaning failure to break out from the 38.75 resistance level is an area for you also to take profits. Yung natulong lang ng Fibonacci is that it lessens, I guess, the subjectivity of drawing it. And I've noticed this from a lot of people who attended our Stock Smart sessions, is that They like using Fibonacci retracements primarily because I guess it takes a lot of experience to be able to identify certain areas in the past where your support and resistance lines will be. Using Fibonacci, it's easier because you just look for the lowest point, look for the highest point, connect them, and then it builds it off that. So trading plan off of this, same thing. If you were able to buy earlier, either from the breakout of 34.4 or 36.19, failure to break out of the 38.75 level will result into a take profit plan for you, take profit signal also for you if you are a quick trader. In the same way also, if it breaks out of the 38.75 mark, your next possible target price will be at the 42 peso level. Then if it fails to break out of 38.75, possible area for it to go down or to retrace will be at the 36.19 mark. So if you get the logic of how I'm analyzing it, it's the same use case as compared to you drawing your own support and resistance. Wala masyadong changes doon. It's just that for this particular scenario, yung pag-drawing yung Fibonacci yung gamit. What's more effective? I don't know eh. What I've been using though I've been investing for over a decade in the markets is I like drawing it on my own, but I've seen a lot of people who've attended Stock Smarts that have been using Fibonacci retracements. But similar to the word, no, Fibonacci retracements, limited siya because you can only use it when a retracement is actually there. Yung limitation niya, pwede nyo naman supplement using other indicators. You can add ADX, you can add Bollinger Bands, you can add MACD also to the list. If you want to know more about this, no, the next Stock Smarts course will be via Zoom. It will be this July already. Links are in the description below for those who want to join us. I think it's 2 weekends, 4 half-day sessions, and we will cover a lot of the things that we're talking about here, but in greater detail. And what I love about the seminars is that there's a lot of Q&A that we get to answer, you get to ask them directly and raw, and I'm excited to that. And I love YouTube, but above and beyond doing YouTube, doing the seminars also is very, very fun. So I hope to see you all there. For those who won't be able to attend, links are down below for the books that I've written about technical analysis. Wala pang indicators dun sa books na nasulat ko. Maybe in the future, I promised to make 1 book a year for the next 10 years. But the last book that I've written was 2017. After that, I wasn't able to write anymore. So I have to force myself, I guess, to write again. I'm not a writer at heart. I like talking, and that's why andali para sa akin mag-TikTok, andali para sa akin mag-YouTube, because it's just me sharing my thoughts in general. It's just me sharing my ideas without me actually writing stuff. So how does foreign investors affect the Philippines? So we have to remember this. And this is, I guess, the beauty also of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The Philippines is a very, very small market. Totoo, it's nicer that we're seeing a lot of local retailers start to come in and start to invest. However, it's still very, very small as compared to the amount of money foreigners have been placing. So meaning, when foreigners start to buy, when they start to come in, they place a very, very large demand. And as they start to place a very, very large demand, as you all know, more buyers bring the prices up, more sellers bring the prices down. So every time they buy up massively, we see the market start to push up once again. In the same way, when we see foreigners start to sell, they place a large demand on selling, more sellers bring the prices down. So I think one of the reasons why the market is moving up again today, or at least for the past few days and for the past few weeks, we've seen foreigners start to come back once again, and then they're buying the markets higher. So one technique that you could actually employ in all of this is that, hey, if they start selling, they start going out again, that could be an indication also, or that could show us some signs of weakness also in the market, that as they start selling large amounts of money, trying to pull the markets down, trying to get out, we would see the market start to go lower. And people are saying, ba't naman sila nagbenta? Please remember this, that foreigners are just the same as us, that they are investing because they're in it for a profit. They're in it to make money. When their signal to sell or the gains that they have is already acceptable to them, it's just a responsible thing to do for an investor to take money out of the table. Or if they see a compelling story outside that might give them a better upside than the Philippines, or they see downside already in the Philippine markets, they're gonna sell. That's very, 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 very normal. Foreign investors, institutional investors are no different than us. They're also in it to win it. They're also in it to make money. Why do you think hodling is the best strategy for most people? I don't know what every strategy for every person is, no, but I can tell you the context of a lot of people that I know that are hodling in the cryptocurrency market. Siguro to superimpose this also to the stock market, why are there a lot of long-term investors that are just accumulating and buying? A lot of the people who accumulate stocks for the long term really believe in the fundamentals of the company. In the same way, a lot of people that I know that are hodling Bitcoin they're not even planning to sell their Bitcoin. They don't care about the price of Bitcoin against the US dollar. What they just want is to have as much Bitcoin as possible because they know Bitcoin is very, very scarce. They know one day there will never be another Bitcoin that will be mined, as there will never be another Bitcoin that will be mined. Whatever they have today becomes more precious and precious and precious and precious as the days would go by. So I don't know what the best technique there, but what I do know is in the world of investing, it all boils down to your conviction that if you're trading and your sell signals have been hit, as what we talked about in the charts earlier, you have to get out of that position. You have to sell. You have to take profits or you have to cut loss. And if you're hodling, when it's volatile, that's where diamond hands would come in, that you're not supposed to be rattled, that you're not supposed to panic, you're not supposed to be scared. And in the same way, if you have cash, that's where stacking and buying the dip will come into play. So I don't think it's the best strategy. I don't think there's one size fit all strategy. But what I do think is that it all boils back to what works for you. And tuhog ko na rin yun sa last question na to from KGH Gamboa. What do you advise for people like me having FOMO, not buying and capturing every dip? I think what's more important above and beyond you capturing every dip is to follow your plan. If you set a specific price range on where you want to buy, as long as it's in that range, you buy. If you set a specific percentage on where you want to sell, you follow that also, and then you sell and you take profits. Or in the same way also, if you're using technicals and it's already at that particular support level and it's bouncing from that particular support level, you don't know how low it would go. You don't know if that's already the bottom, but when it's in that support level, that's an area for you to buy, then you go for it. It won't always be a perfect game, but the goal in all of this is that when you're right, you maximize it. When you're wrong, you get out. Or when you're a hodler, when it dips, you accumulate and you stack some more. Investing will always be a game of conviction. Investing will always be a game of gaano kadami yung inaral mo, gaano kadami na research mo, how real is that to you, because how real is your information and research to you will determine your conviction every time there will be downward movements, and it will also determine your conviction every time markets zoom up and you're so tempted to sell. So I hope you guys got a lot from this. If you're new to this channel, my name's Marvin Germo and I make daily videos about investing. If you like more of this, like, share, subscribe, and smash the bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content about investing. Please do know this is not financial advice. Please, it's your money, it's your responsibility. Please take the time for you to be able to analyze and learn about what you're investing into. Don't just buy, don't just transact just because you hear someone off of YouTube talk about it. That's the most important thing that I want to share to all of you. And if you want to invest in the crypto markets, links are down below for Binance, one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world. If you want to know more about how you can invest in the US markets for $1, a link is coming out here. It's Go Trade. You can use that code. It's invite only for you to be able to trade US stocks for $1. And if you want to invest in the Forex markets, we have XM. Check them out also. Links are in the description below if you want to trade Forex markets. That's it for now. I hope that this is something that's insightful for all of you. And keep on sending those questions. I enjoy answering those questions because the whole goal of why I keep doing videos like this is I just want to see you guys informed, and I want that information to help you invest so that you can reach your goals of financial freedom. Marvin Germo, I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.